Imagine a world where one empire stretched across every continent except Antarctica. At its peak, the British Empire controlled nearly a quarter of the Earth's landmass. Let's uncover which countries were part of it. Let's start with Africa. From Egypt and Sudan in the north to South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe, British influence stretched across the continent. Many of these nations fought hard for independence, with Ghana leading the way in 1957. And let's not forget Tanzania, which was formed from the union of Tanganyika and Zanzibar, and Cameroon, where parts were under British mandate after World War I. Plus, Gambia, Libya, Cyrenaica and Tripolitania, and Seychelles, which were all under British rule at various points. Also, Mauritius, a British colony from 1810 until its independence in 1968, and St. Helena, Ascension, and Tristan da Cunha, important British territories in the Atlantic, should be mentioned. Even Walvis Bay in Namibia was once under British control before becoming part of Namibia. Additionally, Equatorial Guinea, Annobon Island, and São Tomé and Príncipe were temporarily occupied by the British during conflicts, including the Napoleonic Wars. Next, we travel to the Americas. The United States started as 13 British colonies before gaining independence in 1776, but Britain held onto Canada, Jamaica, Barbados, and even Belize, formerly British Honduras. Also, we have Montserrat, a British territory with a rich colonial history, and British Guiana, now Guyana, which played a significant role in the empire's economic history. Don't forget Bermuda, Anguilla, and the British Virgin Islands, which remain British overseas territories today. Plus, let's add the Turks and Caicos Islands and Cayman Islands, which are still British overseas territories. And we can't forget the Falkland Islands, an important British territory with a history that led to the Falklands War. Other former British colonies in the Americas include St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, and Dominica, all of which gained independence in the late 20th century. Heading to Asia, this is where the British Empire had one of its biggest territories, India. From 1858 to 1947, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh were under British rule. And let's not forget Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and even Iraq and Jordan were once part of Britain's vast empire. Also worth mentioning, Palestine, which was under British mandate from 1920 to 1948, and Kuwait, which remained a British protectorate until its independence in 1961. Plus, Maldives and Brunei, which were British protectorates before gaining independence in the 20th century. We should also add Singapore, a key British colony from 1819 until its independence in 1965, and Aden, now part of Yemen, which was a strategic British colony from 1839 to 1967. Also, Hong Kong, a British colony from 1842 until it was returned to China in 1997, and Weihaiwei, China, which was under British rule from 1898 to 1930. Even Tibet experienced British influence after the Young Husband expedition. Now, let's explore Oceania. Australia and New Zealand were key British territories, along with islands like Fiji, Papua New Guinea, and the Solomon Islands. Nauru was jointly administered by the UK, Australia, and New Zealand after World War I, and Samoa was under British influence before becoming a New Zealand mandate. Other territories included the Cook Islands, Niue, Pitcairn, Christmas Island, Cocos Islands, Norfolk Island, Tonga, 1900 to 1970, and the Gilbert and Ellice Islands, now Kiribati and Tuvalu. Europe. Ireland was part of the UK until 1922, and Cyprus was under British control for nearly a century. Plus, Malta, which played a strategic role in the Mediterranean, was under British rule from 1814 to 1964. And don't forget Gibraltar, which remains a British overseas territory today, and Minorca, Spain, which was controlled by the British for parts of the 18th century. And last but not least, the Middle East. In the Middle East, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Iraq, Oman, and the UAE were British protectorates, and South Yemen remained under British control until 1967. Crown dependencies like the Isle of Man and Guernsey are still under British sovereignty today. The British Empire spanned across every continent except Antarctica, but by the mid-20th century, independence movements brought an end to British rule. Were you surprised by any? Let us know, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Facts Family Official for more mind-blowing facts.